Explain the increase in egg prices.
Oh, there's a lot of things going into it, quite honestly. So what we really saw was the avian flu went through. I don't know if you saw headlines about that. And they had to, essentially, if a flock was found with that, they had to kill all the birds within that flock. So you had hundreds of thousands of birds getting killed off, and then now we have to replenish that stock. And it's not just that you buy chicks and they start laying eggs. It takes 6 to 7 months. I think it is 6. Might not be remembering that off the top of my head right, but it takes time to replenish that and get it going again. So we had that going on in the background. Well, now we also have with corn and soybeans and wheat and different things that you put into the feed, that has also been at record high prices right now. So your feed costs are also increasing considerably. And one thing we saw too is then all of a sudden with paper and packaging costs, our carton costs went up. They doubled essentially from what we were paying before. So it's all these little parts and pieces coming together to make it that there's less of a supply, and now we have more higher inputs to make that all work.
Yeah, people have been baffled by this, the egg prices.
I don't 100% blame them because it was kind of like weird, and we've always just kind of kept our prices the same because our inputs are about the same other than the egg cartons. And then it was slowly, people were calling me, did you see how much they are in the grocery store? No, I don't look for eggs in the grocery store. I paid $7 today.
This is like a huge thing. This was such a major thing.
Yes, and I'm getting phone calls, and I'm like, okay.
So did you increase your prices, or?
We only went up $1 on our large eggs, and then we divide them. We do small and mediums, large and extra large, because different chickens lay different sized eggs.
Okay.
So I felt bad selling the smaller eggs at the regular cost. So we went up from $4 to $5 on our large, extra large, and from $2 to now we're up to $3.50 on our small mediums.
How would you describe the difference between your eggs, the taste of your eggs, and the quality of your eggs versus what you find in the grocery store? So
the biggest thing, and one of the biggest misconceptions, is that brown eggs are better. And that's not necessarily a fact. The egg color is really just dependent on the bird and the species, or the breed, essentially it is. But the biggest difference is the different feed that we're feeding. For us, we actually mix our own feed and know exactly what we're putting in. And mind you, like the bigger farms aren't necessarily putting anything bad in, but they have bigger batches. They're just doing things a little differently. But the biggest thing is from farm to counter, essentially. We can get it from our farm to the counter within a day, 2 days. A lot of these other places I've heard time frames from like 20 days to a month and a half to get them to the grocery store and actually get them sold. So you have that time when the quality of the egg is slowly deteriorating over time.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing for us, at least. And we actually, and in our feed too, like I said, feed's different. For us, we actually started adding a marigold powder into it, and it makes the yolks yellower and a little more dense in nutrients, which is interesting. And we work with a nutritionist and things on that kind of stuff. But
that's the big difference, especially. It's the yolk.
Yes. Like
fresh eggs, it's like, oh, this is so bright. It's as
so
bright
yellow.
as the sun.
Yes. Yep. And that has all to do with all that kind of little things that add up to a lot.
And then in the store, it's like a faded yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's interesting.